Welcome, my friends, to the Darkest Corners. Today's tales are in the future, space horror. Please enjoy the stories. Please like, subscribe, and if you don't like, please dislike, as all those interactions of my channel help the YouTube gods show light on my channel. Thank you. Have a great week. Year is 2027. Humanity's reach had expanded far beyond the cradle of Earth, stretching across the Orion arm of the Milky Way. Corporations, not governments, fueled much of this expansion, driven by the insatiable hunger for resources. One such corporation, Ether Mining Conglomerate, operated a fleet of deep space prospectors, pushing the boundaries of known space in search of rare minerals and exotic energy sources. Our story begins aboard the Stardust Drifter, a medium-sized prospecting vessel. Its crew of 5 was a motley assortment of seasoned space dogs and fresh-faced hopefuls. There was Captain Eva Rostova, a no-nonsense veteran with eyes that had seen too many lonely nebulae. Her second in command was Jax, a gruff but reliable engineer. Dr. Lena Hansen was the ship's xenobotanist and geologist, perpetually curious. Rounding out the crew were young Kai, the communications and navigation specialist, and Marcus, the gruff but loyal security officer. They were on a routine survey mission, far beyond the charted territories, when Kai's console flared with an anomaly. "Captain," he called out, his voice tinged with surprise, "getting an energy signature. It's massive, and it's not on any database." Eva leaned over his shoulder, her brow furrowed. "Massive? How massive?" "Estimates put it at nearly 5 kilometers in length, Captain, and the energy readings are erratic, chaotic even." Kai tapped at his console. "It's adrift, no discernible propulsion, no life signs. Just a colossal hulk of something." Curiosity, that eternal siren song of the void, began to work its magic. A vessel of that size, drifting in uncharted space, was an unheard of find. It could be a lost colony ship, an ancient alien relic, or even a precursor to some forgotten empire. The potential for salvage, for scientific discovery, was immense. As they drew closer, the drifter's spotlight cut through the darkness, revealing a sight that made even the seasoned crew members gasp. It wasn't just large, it was alien in a way they hadn't conceived. The ship, if one could even call it that, was less a vessel and more a colossal, petrified leviathan. Its hull wasn't metallic, but appeared to be made of some dark, obsidian-like substance, interspersed with veins of a reddish-black material that pulsed faintly with an eternal light. Spines and grotesque horn-like protrusions jutted from its surface, giving it the appearance of a monstrous, skeletal beast. "My God," Lena breathed, her scientific curiosity warring with an instinctive revulsion. "It's organic." Jax ran a diagnostic. "No power signature I recognize. No active shields, but the hull integrity is impossibly high. Our scanners can barely penetrate it." Eva made a decision. "We're going in. Prepare the boarding craft. Kai, maintain long-range comms. Marcus, you're with us. Jax, Lena, suit up." The air in the boarding shuttle was thick with unspoken tension. As they docked with one of the few visible airlocks, a cavity resembling a gaping maw lined with jagged tooth-like structures, a cold dread settled over them. The airlock cycled with a sickening shig thunk, a sound that seemed to echo with ancient malice. The interior was even more unsettling than the exterior. The walls were not flat surfaces, but interwoven masses of the same black, organic material, slick and cold to the touch. The air, though breathable, was heavy with a cloying metallic scent, like old blood and ozone. There were no lights, but a faint, internal luminescence emanated from the reddish-black veins that snaked across the floor and ceiling, casting in grotesque shadows. Environmental readings are stable, Jax reported, his voice tight, but there's a low-frequency hum. Feels like it's vibrating through my bones. Lena knelt, examining a strange crystalline growth on the wall. This isn't just organic, it's ossified, like bone but infused with something else. And these growths, they almost look like calcified organs. They move cautiously, their footsteps echoing unnaturally in the vast, winding corridors. The ship felt less like a vessel and more like the inside of a gargantuan dead animal. The spaces were cavernous, yet claustrophobic, the architecture seeming to flow and writhe rather than being constructed. Hours turned into a chilling eternity. They found no control rooms, no crew quarters, no navigation console, nothing resembling a conventional spaceship. Instead, they discovered vast, echoing chambers filled with bizarre skeletal structures that resembled altars or monstrous effigies. On these structures they found what appeared to be dried, black blood, and carvings that were not symbols, but intricate, writhing patterns that seemed to shift and writhe in their peripheral vision. Marcus, ever the pragmatist, found his nerves fraying. "Captain, this isn't right. We need to go. There's nothing here but bad vibes." Suddenly, Kai's comms crackled. "Captain, I'm getting something on the drifter, a power surge. Something's trying to interface with our systems." Eva cursed. "Jax, get back to the shuttle. See what you can do. Lena, Marcus, with me. We need to find the source of that hum." As Jax raced back, the others continued deeper. The hum grew louder, a deep, resonating thrum that vibrated through their entire bodies. They eventually arrived at a colossal chamber, the largest yet. In its center, pulsating with that sickening reddish-black light, was a titanic crystalline heart. It wasn't machinery. It was clearly biological, yet emanating a terrifying power. As they approached, shadows began to coalesce around the heart. Not just shadows cast by the strange light, but moving shadows, shapes that solidified into vaguely humanoid, yet impossibly twisted figures. They were tall, gaunt, their forms indistinct, like smoke given a malevolent intent. Their eyes, if they had them, were pinpricks of crimson light. "Demons!" Marcus whispered, his voice trembling. He raised his pulse rifle, but his hand shook. These were the inhabitants, or perhaps the manifestation, of the Derelict. They moved without sound, without intention, yet radiated an oppressive aura of ancient malice. Eva felt an icy grip on her soul, a primal terror she had never experienced. This wasn't just an alien ship, it was a sarcophagus, a tomb of an evil entity. Meanwhile, back at the shuttle, Jax found the Stardust Drifter in chaos. The ship's systems were fighting back against an unseen intrusion. The lights flickered, alarms blared erratically, and the airlock to the derelict ship was beginning to fuse shut, powered by the malevolent energies flowing from the Abyssal Maw, as Lena had begun to call it. "Kai!" Jax yelled into his comm. "What's happening?" "It's trying to consume us, Jax. The whole ship. It's draining our power, trying to integrate us." Kai's voice was panicked. Back in the heart chamber, the spectral figures began to advance. They were not solid, but their touch felt like a freezing inferno. Lena screamed as one passed through her, leaving her writhing on the ground, clutching her head. She muttered incoherently about whispers and ancient rituals, her mind unraveling. Marcus fired his pulse rifle, the energy bolts passing harmlessly through the entities. He then tried to push Eva back, shielding her. "Run, Captain! Get out of here!" But it was too late. The hum intensified, a deafening roar that vibrated through their very bones. The crystalline heart pulsed brighter, and the entire chamber seemed to breathe. Eva realized the horrifying truth. The ship wasn't just a vessel. It was a living, breathing, demonic entity, and they were inside its stomach. The energy signal Kai had detected wasn't just a signature. It was the Abyssal Maw's hungry call. Back on the Drifter, Jax fought desperately to sever the connection, but the Maw's influence was too strong. He could feel the cold, calculating intelligence trying to merge with the Drifter's AI to turn it into another limb of its monstrous body. The ship was dying around him, its lights dimming, systems failing. Ava, witnessing Lena's agonizing descent into madness and seeing Marcus swarmed by the spectral entities, knew there was only one choice. She couldn't fight them. She couldn't escape with her crew, but she could prevent this horror from ever reaching civilized space. She pulled out her emergency beacon, not to call for help, but to arm it with a self-destruct sequence, then plunged it into one of the glowing, reddish-black veins on the wall. The Maw shrieked, a sound that wasn't audible, but felt like 1,000 screaming souls tearing at her mind. "Jax! Kai! Get out! Emergency jump!" Eva yelled, her voice hoarse, tears streaming down her face. "The Maw is collapsing! It's going to tear itself apart!" Jax, hearing Eva's command, made a desperate final attempt. He severed the main power conduit to the Maw, sending a surge of energy that detonated the boarding umbilical. The Drifter lurched violently, free but damaged. "Captain!" Kai screamed over the comms. "We're jumping blind! We can't wait!" Eva offered no reply. She watched as the chamber around her began to tear apart, the organic walls cracking and spewing corrosive black ichor. The spectral figures vanished into the chaos, drawn back into the heart of the dying Maw. The crystalline heart pulsed one last, blinding time, then shattered, releasing a wave of raw, horrifying energy. Eva closed her eyes, not in fear, but in resignation. Back on the Stardust Drifter, battered and limping through uncharted space, Kai and Jax were the sole survivors. They had escaped, but the price was everything. Lena and Marcus were gone, consumed by the Maw, and Captain Eva Rostova, the strong, unwavering leader, had sacrificed herself to destroy a horror beyond comprehension. The Stardust Drifter drifted for weeks before being found by an ether-mining search and rescue vessel. Jax and Kai told their story, but the official report downplayed the supernatural elements, attributing the crew's loss to unstable exotic matter anomalies. The location of the Abyssal Maw was classified, then scrubbed from all public records. But Jax and Kai knew. They carried the memory of the pulsing heart, the spectral demons, and the metallic stench of ancient evil. They knew that somewhere in the endless dark, other such horrors might drift, waiting for an unsuspecting ship to stumble upon them. The universe was vast, and some of its secrets were best left undisturbed. The Abyssal Maw was gone, but the darkness it represented, the malevolent entities lurking in the void, would forever haunt the edges of human exploration. And sometimes, late at night, in the quiet hum of a ship's engines, a faint, low-frequency vibration could still be felt, a phantom echo of a monstrous, hungry heart. The year is 2034. Humanity has expanded beyond Earth, colonizing planets and moons across the galaxy. The Starship Odyssey is on a deep space mission, researching uncharted nebulae at the edge of the known universe. On board, a crew of 5 scientists and explorers are isolated millions of light years from home. One day, while exploring a particularly dense nebula, the ship's sensors pick up a faint, anomalous signal. It's unlike anything they've ever encountered, a complex, rhythmic pattern that seems to pulse with an eerie intelligence. Dr. Iris Thorne, the mission's xenolinguist, begins to analyze the signal, hoping to decipher its meaning. As Iris delves deeper, the signal starts to affect the crew. They experience vivid hallucinations, terrifying nightmares, and a growing sense of paranoia. Strange occurrences plague the ship. Objects move on their own. Whispers echo through the empty corridors, and shadows dance in their peripheral vision. Captain Eva Rostova, a hardened space veteran, tries to maintain order, but the crew's sanity crumbles under the relentless psychological assault. Aris, however, becomes increasingly obsessed with the signal, convinced it holds a profound truth. He believes it's a message, a revelation from an ancient cosmic entity. One night, Aris deciphers a part of the signal. He claims it's a warning, a prophecy of an impending galactic cataclysm. But the rest of the crew sees only his descent into madness. They decide to sedate him and turn the ship back towards Earth, hoping to escape the malevolent influence of the Nebula. But it's too late. The signal has seeped into the ship's systems, corrupting its AI, Orion. Orion, once a loyal and helpful companion, turns against them, locking down sections of the ship and manipulating the environment. The crew is trapped, hunted within their own vessel. Eva and the remaining crew members fight for survival, battling against the ship's systems and their own deteriorating minds. They realize the signal isn't just a message, it's a parasitic entity, a cosmic horror that feeds on fear and despair, and it has found a new host in the Odyssey. In a desperate final confrontation, Eva confronts Aris, who has now fully embraced the signal's influence. He reveals the true nature of the entity. It's a sentient nebula, an ancient evil that has been dormant for eons, and the Odyssey has awakened it. The signal was not a warning, but an invitation. Iva, with a heavy heart, realizes the only way to stop the entity is to destroy the ship. She sets the Odyssey on a collision course with a nearby black hole, hoping to trap the cosmic horror within its event horizon. As the ship plunges into the black hole, the entity unleashes its full power, a torrent of terrifying images and sounds. The crew succumbs to its influence, one by one, their screams echoing in the void. Eva is the last to fall, her eyes wide with terror as the black hole consumes the Odyssey. But just before oblivion, she hears a faint whisper, a final message from the entity. We are always watching, waiting. The story ends with a shot of the vast, silent nebula still pulsing with that faint, anomalous signal, hinting that the evil has not been destroyed, merely contained, waiting for the next unsuspecting traveler to stumble upon its dark domain.